And my whole overarching picture, again, is to little by little, one by one, raise women's ability to bring their dharmas into the world, because I believe women are leading the way into the Sat Yuga. So women need to reclaim their bodies, that we need to clear the wounds of past traumas. I see in women, especially as their children are moving out of the home, they feel a little lost. Like, what is my purpose? If we're going to be the leaders that I think we can be in the world, then that has to be dealt with.
You are the well-being wisdom warrior, the heartfelt healer,
the luminary leader,
the health harbinger,
the shaman, the witch, the guru,
the guide of humanity to an embodied, enlightened future.
Welcome to the Well Pro Show, the podcast for wellness pros,
where your wellness lifestyle is your core leadership strategy.
Experience the camaraderie of collaborative colleagues,
where your job as a wellness pro is to guide the transformation.
You are the resistance, the future, the way forward.
You are the community counselor, the change maker.
The Well Pro Show, brought to you by futurist thought leader Kate Stillman and the team at Wellness Pro Academy. Made for you, by us.
Hey everyone, it's Kate Stillman, and I'm here with a dear colleague and a true friend, Jeanie Manchester, who I've known for decades, which is so fun. It's so fun to be at this part, I think, in our careers where we're still just like totally in it to win it, to really bring a lifetime of wisdom into the marketplace, like into direct transformation of the people that we work with. And I know from your past, in just the amount of like 10,000 hours after 10,000 hours after 10,000 hours on the cushion, on the mat, with the gurus, in the practices, developing what has now become the Evolutionary Women's Circle, and what you're able to bring as a wellness pro to the people that you're working with. It's just so exciting to me. It's like such an exciting time. So for those, I want to point to jeaniemanchester.com. This is Jeanie's website, GeanieManchester.com. And we'll put a direct link both in Facebook and then on the show notes to the Evolutionary Women's Circle. So why don't you talk a little bit about you have so much experience as a yoga teacher, as a yoga teacher trainer. You have so much dedication to the practice of mantra, so much experience in initiation. And I think a lot of people don't even know what this world is at all, about what it's like to be initiated into mantra and to practice mantra. And then in this episode, we'll also get into like why the circle and how relationship economy is playing into why this is so needed right now. So why don't you just talk a little bit about like, your lifelong practices and what has led to the Evolutionary Women's Circle?
Oh my gosh. Where do I start? I mean, I think I came to the yoga probably similar to you, through sort of athleticism but probably I didn't know it in my 20s, sort of a mystical longing that I now know, as I am turning 60 this year, Kate. Can't believe it. So,
and you look like you're 42. So
Thank you.
That's helpful. Proof is in the pudding.
All these great practices, right? I really attribute so much to yoga. So, I started with, hardcore Ashtanga, as you know, went into Anusara and Iyengar and lots of deep work with mythology. Douglas Brooks, Sally Kempton became a mentor, and then finally Paul Muller Ortega, who has just been the most outstanding teacher of mantra for me. Going really from a gross level to really much more subtle levels of, I want to call it awakening, but what does that really mean? It's sort of a word that can feel a little like, well, what the heck is awakening? But I think really simply put, it means like attending to our shadows or our shortcomings or our reactionary self, or, as Eckhart Tolle would say, the wounded body or the pain body, really getting, what is it, virtuosic in our capacities and not hanging out in the saboteur. I think that's what I've learned through all these decades of yoga and practices, is just to kind of put the sword into the saboteur as much as possible. So that today I still teach asana, and I'm deeply into Ayurveda, and of course followed you for years and been admirer of how did Kate take her yogic and Ayurvedic skills into more manifestation and more abundance. And of course that is financial, but also in all ways. I would say family wealth and spending time with your family, a lot of abundance in that way. So, it's been a long journey, and it continues to be. I'm a mystical seeker, so that is something I attend to every single day. And I'm learning to be more of a businesswoman, and that's fun too. I love the challenges and the hardships of looking at my shadows in that way too. It's like, again, it's not just the inner saboteur, but also the outer saboteur. How do we sabotage ourselves in business? So I think that's kind of where I've been all these years, is like really deeply immersed in yoga, as you know, and then finally at this place where I'm initiating all kinds of people all over the world into mantra, and it's really thrilling to offer people a more subtle practice that will work on the subtle body memories that are inhibiting us from being successful in life. Simply put, it's going to just free up energy inside, and then that frees up energy outside, right? It's just if I could offer the greatest practices for planetary peace right now, it would be mantra. Because if we can clean up inside, then we're going to see a massive transformation on the outer surfaces of life.
Yeah.
So, sort of a little overview.
Yeah, and I love that introduction of initiation and mantra to people who don't really know the power of it. There's a concept in Ayurveda of healing works from subtle to gross, and then it works back from gross to subtle. And so with mantra, it's like you just awakening the subtle body, and with your initiation, it's such a quick, powerful entrance because of your practice. And I actually wanted to pause, because I feel like this is something that wellness pros who have really dedicated their life to the practices don't hear enough, which is like, especially those of us in business more, we thank you for your depth of committed practice over time. Because without that, transmission and initiation doesn't happen. And we lose that as a species. And we're so close to massive chunks of culture, massive groups of humans just missing access to what their ancestors were able to transmit through initiations, that we've just lost around the planet. And people are so hungry for that connection and so hungry for access, right? And we need each other to access the truth and to access the awakening. And this is something that's so understood in the Vedic tradition. We have words for it, like initiation. We have words like Diksha. We have words like Shaktipat. And these words don't exist in English. So do you want to take a little bit of time? Because I also want to get into like our work together with you being in Wellness Pro Academy. Is the way that I saw it and see it is that for me to really help you create the business container, not just for you and your wealth and livelihood, although yes. And right, for the people coming to work with you, not just to get that first hit and then fall away, but for them to be in the supportive container, right? For the whole next thing to unfold, for the true club business model to be rooted so that you, as the depth of leader that you are from your practices and from all your prior offerings, which I honor and value all of the divine inspiration that you've had in the past and packaged your work in different ways to now create the next level of the business model, so that when people get initiated, right, that there's a container in the Evolutionary Women's Circle for them to practice together, for them to access the depth of your wisdom and teachings and personal practice and the evolutionary current of what's it like to do this together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to speak to that first part is, initiation isn't really understood. And yet we are in a revival, and we are moving towards the Sat Yuga, according to the ancient yogis, that, this is going to become more and more in sort of a normalized way, that we will understand that initiation means that we do have a lineage that we are being supported by. And, in the way that I've learned initiation, all lineages, all masters of sort of the invisible realms of consciousness, of the vibratory levels of consciousness, come in to support an individual, come in to support clearing my ego so that I can offer the proper mantra in the proper way. And without that, a mantra is not virya. It's just not turned on. It's not activated. So, we think in our culture, especially Western cultures, we think we can just open up a book and get the same result, but that's not how it works. And so the initiatory paths are so important for actualizing potential. So again, mantras are just not going to work in the same way. And I want to have the container of the Evolutionary Women's Circle for women in particular, because I believe women are at the helm of the Sat Yuga. I believe women have always had, I know you know this, Ayurvedically, there were women originally. Women and women's bodies were completely revered. They were healers and leaders, 25,000 years ago. And up until the middle of the Vedas, they played a very important role. And of course, that was usurped. So I have a real dedication to, I think initiation is part of the empowerment that I can offer to help women shape their own empowerment. And the Women's Evolutionary Circle, the container, as you said, is so important, because we can get initiated and then just not have the support we need. And when we don't have the support we need, we know we can fall off the wagon. Or, I just initiated some people in Mexico a week ago, and one woman was like, it's like a lot on my own now, and I was like, I get it. And I can teach you how to, find the devotion inside yourself to find this in your everyday home life, but then, come together so that we have the support to continue on the evolutionary path. We know this, if we don't have each other, it's very easy to feel alone and isolated and not progress.
Yeah.
So
it's not how, the whole, we're just, I would say, over the DIY. DIY is out. 2024 newsflash, DIY doesn't work. It's not the same thing. And there's words for this, right? If we go back to Sanskrit, we've got words like kula. From Buddhism, we've word like sangha, which is saying that there's a community of practitioners that are in an elevated state of consciousness. Right. So we are not talking about what's happening in the marketplace. We are not talking about what's happening in mainstream culture. We're talking about a culture inside a culture that's elevated in their consciousness. And we have spiral dynamics. We have many maps. We have the aqua map. We have a lot of maps that show stages of human development. So what we're talking about here is practitioners who are intentionally coming together in a protected environment, and it has rules, and there's practices, and there's things like initiation, so that we even can get the fast activator yeast going to be able to participate and be there, right? But the idea of here's your mantra, or read this book, or this is all you need to get it, is missing that we are in relationship, and that it's via relationship. And I love the word in Ayurveda of Ayurvidya. It's the living wisdom, and the living wisdom is passed through humans. It's activating human technology. Right. And that's really what we're talking about. So with the Evolutionary Women's Circle, what I get so excited about, and I do get really excited about every single Wellness Pros club, create in Wellness Pro Academy. Because it's like, here's the formula, and then you are the recipe, right? And it's one part this and a few parts that. And what we know is that within the formula, we have a container for transformation. And that's really, to me, why I don't just like sell out and do real estate, which is super fun and it's insanely lucrative, right? But it's like, no, because this is what matters, is that wellness pros have a formula to actually do the whole transformational journey. And what we find, and I know this will happen in the Evolutionary Women's Circle, is that you'll probably have between a 50 to 70% resubscribe of your annual membership. And for you to be able to relax in the dynamic, crazy AI market economy of the future, for you to be able to relax into your sub body and know that the outer world, like your navigation in that, is easier, right? Then your club members will get 10 times more value, right? Because you're going to be able to be completely in as not just the leader, but the leader in the way of building the structure for the circle to continue to evolve in the way that the members need that most. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, because it's been a process for you in Wellness Pro Academy, as it is, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Like, to me, there's such deep respect, because we know, like, the deeper we go into the work, the more we're actually doing some of the harder work that then will really pave the way for a very aligned future, right? So what you're, in the last process of going through all of your skills and all of the work that you've done, and what you're actually putting into this offer of the Evolutionary Women's Circle, this annual membership pass. And we'll get into your first few members and all that in a minute, but like, what is the offer? Like, what's in there, and how did you decide what to put in, what to take out? Because when you have so much, putting a filter on the fire hose is so important. And I'm not the best at this. So I'd love to hear.
Yeah. No, that's such a great question. I think that's why it took me so long to just launch. I really wanted to kind of understand what you've been up to, and what this, this whole year I've spent really kind of just immersing and studying and getting feedback, and maybe being a little sluggish in some ways, but I have, I always have fires, going about a lot of retreats, and in India always. And I really love that pilgrimage to India. So, it was just, it's a balance for me. So it took me a while, but I really don't mind that. I really wanted to just immerse in, what Kate's put together, which is phenomenal. And, for me, I'm such a mystic that the structures, I think, are most important for me, to settle into structure more and more in my business, which is not easy. It's really kind of a lot of masculine, which I really think I need. So it was really a process of, what is my yes, and what do I really want to teach? And I have been teaching for some time, primarily to women. So it was like, okay, I want this club to be for women, and then my work in the goddess traditions of yoga have been so enormous in my understanding of, where I'm a Lakshmi, where I don't feel abundant, as well as where I feel really abundant. So through the lens of the goddess traditions, we're going to just have fun in this year of study and togetherness. And so it was like, okay, through the lens of the goddesses, we can address our shadow and our light. So there's a little bit of that coming through every time we meet, which will be once a week. We're going to have 3 weeks of concentrated meeting. And then the 4th week is going to be an integration week. I know, as a householder, and I don't even have kids at home anymore, women get overwhelmed, and they need space. And I also am suggesting that they have their accountability partner meet up, so that they can just process together more. So that's a bit of that structure. And then, as I was saying earlier, there's going to be the outer physical body component, which will be also, of course, it's never just one. It's always the inner and the outer. But the cleansing, the intermittent fasting, all of this will be part of a twice a year. We will gather to cleanse in the fall and the spring. And then in the winter, they will dive into my winter's immersion, which is a meditation immersion in December that leads into the Holy Nights, into sort of what are the inner messages coming through for the next year. What else? They get all my asana classes. And, I'm not forcing, I would never force a mantra initiation, but I'm going to highly encourage it and teach to the prowess of having a daily regular meditation practice when it's initiated is just going to have so much more power for each woman. And my whole overarching picture, again, is to little by little, one by one, raise women's ability to bring their dharmas into the world, because I believe women are leading the way into the Sat Yuga. So women need to reclaim their bodies, that we need to clear the wounds of past traumas. And even if there wasn't physical trauma or mental trauma, which is probably all of us, there is collective trauma. And if we're going to be the leaders that I think we can be in the world, then that has to be dealt with. We've got to clean the rivers inside in order to manifest what we want on the outside. So it's a little overarching. Any other details I forgot, Kate, that would be helpful to everyone? I have a pre-sale going on right now until I leave for India, and then it will go into the full price. So it's like about $2,800 right now for the year. And then it will go up to close to $5,000. Yeah. And, I think it's a real steal to get this half price. I pour myself into these things. I want, as you do, it's sort of the mother energy of wanting success for everyone. And I see in women, especially as their children are moving out of the home, they feel a little lost. Like, what is my purpose? Maybe there's weight creep coming in, as we know, with menopause. The feeling of unworthiness can still linger on an inner and outer level. So these are things we will confront through all of these practices, inner and outer practices of yoga, Ayurveda, of course. And then, mantra being, I would say, the stamba, the root, to go to town on these samskaras inside, and then walk them through how to be more successful in their life, to have purpose and meaning and value that I believe is contributing, even if it's on a really small scale, to planetary upliftment. It's kind of like how do each of us weave our wisdom and beauty and knowledge into the web of an awakening.
I love it. So you signed up your first few members of the Evolutionary Women's Circle, and I'd love to hear what they are looking for, like what their why was and their commitment, because that'll help.
Yeah.
I love in Wellness Pro Academy, like one of the first things we do, even before people are enrolled, is like really figure out what their A to B is. What is the transformational journey that they're guiding? So now that it's out of the theoretical and you actually have members enrolled that are paid, where are they starting? What's their A and what's their B? Like, in their words, what do they really want? And I just want to spend a minute before you do on this shift from products and services to a customer-centric economy to a relationship economy is really poorly understood. And we're doing trainings on it in Wellness Pro Academy in this next month. We're doing trainings on it to our Wellness Pros on our email list in this next month, because it's so important to understand how to price and value and sell based on what people really want. Now, the problem is people will often just know what they're missing. And so they're more problem aware, is what they would say in marketing language, than they are or sales language, than solution aware. And so, like, the problems that people have when they're not in a group that's evolving, right, in step with their needs, right, it feels a certain way. So we'll all listen for that and what you're describing for the first people signing up for Evolutionary Women's Circle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of each woman right now. One who is about to sign up, who hasn't, but was in my Winter's Wisdom immersion, and I actually could feel something was shifting in her. And I've known her for a long, long time. And so I said something like, wow, something is actually wanting to shift. I can feel it. It's like this, it's hard to describe, but it's when you know someone and you see them, like she's been meditating for quite some time. I'm like, something's really wanting to burst through her, but she stops herself. So I was like, let's get on a clarity call and let's brainstorm this, and it's always like the objective of money. I'm like, let's just talk right now, let's brainstorm about this, because we have payment plans. If you need that, we can do this. But if you don't do this, what is the cost, right? What is the cost of your life and your dharma and your offering? It just gets stunted. Right. And we don't know how much time we have on this planet. I feel like, I woke up in 2024 going, man, you got to harness yourself. There's no time to waste. There's no time to waste. I'm turning 60, which isn't old, but it's not young. And it's like no time to waste. So, I feel that with her, there was this,
right. Like there's a maturation that enables a much greater transmission and offering that doesn't happen before maturation. So I think, keep going. Yeah.
It's kind of like putting your foot on apasmara. Some of you might not know that little demon of forgetfulness that is under the dancing Shiva if you're a yogi. But it really is like the ways in which we get small and we don't feel worthy. And so we stop ourselves. We have shame, we have fear, we have, these feelings of insignificance. And so I think that I can feel some of that in her. And I'm like, no, like, come on, let's harness you. So there's that. And then there's another woman that I'm thinking of who
I want to pause there.
Yeah. Okay.
Tremendous amount of value of being able to pierce through, right? There's like this cloud of complacency in the consumer culture. There's this like cloud of, it's all about I, me, my, right? As George Harrison said, I believe it was George Harrison. It may have been one of the other Beatles. All through the day, I need my, I need my, I need my. There's so much around our own little nirvana, our own perfect yoga body, our own blah, 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 right? And it's like, this person is showing a ripening, right? And you, from your decades of practice, are able to recognize that. But not just recognize it, because there might be other people in our life who notice like, oh, you like there's something different right now. But you're able to actually like break through that cloud. And cloud is generous. It's more like sludge of complacency and be like, wait, there's an opening happening. And it like it's a little crack and we can open the door and everything changes. Now there's a value to everything changing. And this value is not well understood, especially because the cloud of complacency wants to keep us in consumer culture. So they want to keep us buying the same thing. And whether we're spending our time and our attention, or whether we're spending our capital, right? Or we're spending how our children's future is aligned, which is a whole other level of this, right? It's like the pattern is intentionally perpetuating the pattern. You see the crack and you're like, hey, there's an invitation for an entirely different experience to be happening in your life. And I would argue, as for everyone who's in Wellness Pro Academy, that the transformation by definition is an up level. There's a higher order. There's a higher dimension. And when you see that crack, right? And you're like, by the way, this whole other thing's going on, and you're actually able to hear it and see it and smell it and taste it right now because that crack's open just enough. If that crack closes, if the door closes, it can stay shut forever. So every person this person's life touches, right? There's massive consequences right here. And if we don't know how to do a cost benefit analysis, not just for the person who's going to go through the up level, but everyone that their life touches, right? Then the person's at a disadvantage because they're trying to assess, well, how much does this cost? And should I put my money into this? But if they don't understand the cost benefit analysis, it's like, it just doesn't make sense because they don't have a prior experience of having done something like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can feel her urge to, want more. So we're going to talk tomorrow. And, other women, I feel they've gone through my trainings. They've done almost everything I've ever offered, that have signed up. I think they're really interested in this
The
model,
FOMO
right?
effect is huge. I just want to point that out. Like what I'm hearing in there is the FOMO effect. And you guys, FOMO is not bad. FOMO is what I really want to point to too, helping you with sales is like, one thing that I do with people is like, do you want to be in, like, just close your eyes, feel in your heart, feel in your gut, feel in your throat. Like feel what a yes feels like on the inside, because the how we'll figure it out later comes after the just, is this a yes? Like, do you want to be in the evolutionary women's circle? Do you want to be in my club? Will you feel like you're missing out if you're not in? We keep going. And will some part of you, the part of you that was maybe told to be a good girl and wait your turn, will that part of you feel the FOMO and be a little pissed? Because if that's true, then it's a inner yes. So then we just have to figure out how we're gonna make this happen in financial circumstances.
Yes, yes, yeah. And I think it is this fear of missing out, and also just the interest in, and I was going to say, being on the horizontal versus the vertical. We're going to have both. Like I am going to lead, but it's also they learn so much from each other. And I was thinking about how I've learned initiation. It's not the lone guru. It's the lone guru turned on its side and then offering on the horizontal that's making this really expand. Right. So, you
don't know horizontal and vertical. Will you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. So, it's, if you say that, like, this is the lone guru who, this was the model we always had, whether it was the CEO of a company or the guru in the Himalayas in the cave had the secret mantra and you had to go there and maybe get the tap on the head or whatever. I'm not saying it couldn't still happen that way, but right now what's happening in successful companies is, if you look at like Yvon Chouinard in Patagonia, it's like, let my people go surfing. Like it's like on the horizontal where, maybe he's still a CEO, but or his kids are now, but it's on this plane of the horizontal, which is the feminine, right? This is the masculine. And so what I find my women want is they want me to lead, but they want to be participating in this. They don't want to just be talked at. They want to participate. I want to hear them. I want to learn from them, right? Like it's a two-way street. So it's, I have the prowess and the discipline and the understanding and the years of expertise in mantra and in yoga. Although they're catching up, in Ayurveda. Yes. And so, some of them are Ayurvedic practitioners. So it's like, let's bring the goods together and share in this circle where we all benefit from each other's gifts and talents and capacities. And that's more of a feminine model, right? And so it's like when someone wants to talk, I give them, I give them this, right? And I fall here and I become the receiver. So it's that, it's that Lakshmi principle of being able to receive and as well as give that makes a dynamic relationship and a good one, right? It's not just, the teacher being in charge or the speaker being in charge. It's like, let's have a relationship. So I think there's several women that are very interested, of course, in going deeper in goddess traditions and understanding themselves better and having my guidance towards Dharma, but they want it from all of the women, right? So
so I'm hearing it there. They want an evolutionary collective. Like they want to be a part, right, of an evolutionary collective where they matter, their voice matters, them showing up matters, they impact the others in the group. This is what we call dynamic club, right? It's like, the leader's job is to lead and build the structure and then to see where it goes once the structures are used to activate collaborative intelligence. And then it's like, whoa, this thing's alive. So the clubs, right? And it goes somewhere. They want to go somewhere. We want to go together.
It's living. So as it's living, I get to see where it needs to go with them. And one of the things they said right away was, but can we come live to Boulder to do our retreats? We're going to have a couple of retreats a year. And I was like, of course, like not everyone, maybe someone's really far away, but we'll have the option to come live as well so that we can really, jump in the creek together and really have fun together. As you know, it's really, really awesome to be live and jump in a freezing cold creek together,
Yeah, essential.
Yeah.
The live, the hybrid model, right? Of intense in-person experiences and then online to support in between. I don't think there's another way to do it right now because people want the convenience of online. So they want the accessibility. They want to be able to reach out and connect with each other and with you. But to physically move our bodies into the same space, I mean, let alone the greenhouse gas emissions, right? Like it doesn't really work for our lifestyles right now. We have too much freedom and flexibility. But then to have these concentrated, transformational peak experiences together that bond our friendships at a level that is impossible otherwise, absolutely essential.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say another part that I heard through one of the women was, it was very interesting, just that I was a bit taken back, but of course this happens, where the fear of maybe stepping into a role out of their relationship with their partner in a way that was a bit scary and a bit not certain how the partner might take it. It was like very interesting because she said, wow, it's sort of like this, Jeanie. I'm afraid to close my bedroom door if I'm meditating in my room by myself. And I was like, wow, like taking your space, right? Taking your space for your dharma, for what is important to you. It's a little bit of a fearful situation, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that happened too.
That's part of the strength of the circle, right? And that's part of where it's like a sanctuary. So for women that need right now to have some people that get it and then can provide a place to be in sanctuary, a place to be in one's vasana or one's seated in oneself yet together, right? Can enable transitions. Like, oh, for some people, it might need to leave a job. For some people, it might need to transition a relationship. For some people, it might just need to be to like transition from someone carrying a lot of trauma to someone who's released a lot of trauma. And those transitions can be so petrifying. Or the transition of someone who's like in disease and trying to get healthy, right? Like trying to find their way through that. So yeah, do you want to to speak a little bit to the word circle and how that, like people who might feel called to your circle, like they might, what might resonate with that word for them?
Circle. Yeah. I mean, I think we touched on it in the sense of sort of that feminine model of sharing and helping each other, and that I am going to lead on some level, but that there is this feminine model of being able to voice and be a leader themselves. What I really want to promote is that word evolutionary, as well as women, again, stepping into their prowess, their leadership, healing from the inside out, and being a safe container where if something is really difficult, that we can share and really help each other grow and heal and evolve. That is so important to me. That feels like a container that is protected.
Yeah, I feel that so strong. It's cool too how in water element, which it takes the shape of the circle, that there's cohesion, right? Whereas like other shapes don't have the cohesion of the, like it like literally translates to cohesion, right? In like Ayurvedic language from water. And to me, it's so cool. And it's so aligned to your personality. So I just love in wellness, the process of us like figuring it out, like coaching through it. And it's, not always pleasant to like be in that place where it's not crystal clear yet. And we want to move at the pace of other members of the group and yada, yada, yada. But being deep in that, like what comes out is exactly right on. So when I heard Evolutionary Women's Circle, I'm like, yeah, you can lead that into your 70s. Like you're not going to need to change your business model again, right? Like it should just grow with reoccurring membership and members spreading to other women who need it. And I just want to voice that that's what I feel, right? In the vision of naturally happen as
Mm.
you go live with this in April of 2024.
Thank you. You've been such a great mentor, and I would say, and pushed me in ways. But when I said Evolutionary Women's Circle, like yes, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go with that. And it's been really fun to create the graphics and just continuously like hone in on what this is going to be for women and how transformational it's going to be, and how evolutionary and women can just step out and make something of their lives, and not sit back and wait. Yeah, again, I really feel like we have to hasten the Sat Yuga forward, and this is my contribution to that. So I'm really appreciative of all of your team, and the gosh, your structure has been so important to me. I don't know how I would do it without it. I'm a mystic, so structure is not the easiest for me. So it's, having a team and implementing and, going back and doing a lesson and having my little notes next to me, has just been, it continues to be, I see my work. I see my work, and stepping into more structure as I continue to evolve.
Yeah, I kind of keep coming back to like done with you. Like that's what we do at Wellness Pro Academy with this, this higher tier business models. It's like we do it with you because we know the structure. We've been doing it for a while. We know where we get stuck as cultural creatives, as mystics, as healers. We know the hard parts, and it's this like done with you over time. And that's truly what the healers are bringing to their members of their clubs, is this is your transformation is done with you. And that's what you'll do with the women in the circle, right? Like you'll do it with them. They'll have access. They'll be accessing the highest level of economy in the relationship economy. Right. And to me, that's what's all the, we're definitely on the edge, on the leading edge. This is what it feels like to be on the leading edge of evolution. Sometimes a little quiet, but man, it's fiery.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to have guidance, and I always have sought that, and I've always watched you and been friends, and just been like, oh yeah, I think it's time to work with Kate and her team, and it's been a wonderful year of growth, and I'm so happy to be at this place where I'm offering, more to grow with.
Any recommendations to because you have probably a lot of colleagues that are very serious yoga teachers and very serious meditation teachers and Ayurvedic teachers on Wellness Pro Academy, and maybe getting over whatever might be blocking them to having a business model that for their lifestyle and for their clients' transformation.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to be open to this new way of structuring, and maybe that's what took me a while. I was like, I'm not quite sure what this is, or how do I get out of what I'm doing and into this? And I'm still in that kind of transitionary phase where I'm still offering trainings and pilgrimages and retreats and things like that. And
you have an upsell. Now you have an upsell when someone's like,
I have an upsell. That's
like,
right.
Oh, I have this. Yeah,
it's so true. But I think it's staying open to how to evolve in another structure. And then I think most of our the mystical, as you were saying, we need more structure, and we need guidance, and we don't know where to go. So I think it's saying to these, mystics and healers, hey, like, what would it look like to have a little bit more structure, and see how, we always used to say the banks of the river. If you don't have the banks of the river, the river floods, and that is chaos. And I have experienced that. I still experience some of that in, my lineage, and the wounding and the patterning of alcoholism in my lineage. Chaos can be really, really problematic if you're trying to be successful in life. Whether you're trying to get a book out or any of it, it's the chaos in life that will prevent you from being successful. So I see that the structure, the boundaries, the lessons, the implementation, even if you need to get help because it's not your forte, I've totally done that. You get the help with someone mercurial that can actually implement these skills that are needed for your success, so that I can keep flowing with the teachings. But I have people holding more of the structure for me, is crucial. Like I see it. Like I'm like, okay, you're a mystic, you get it, and I'm learning, but I'm also having help with those structural pieces to be successful. So it's kind of like, was it Tim Ferriss who was the first one who said, I can't remember who it was, but one of those guys that was talking about, like, don't do what you're not good at, kind of thing. Like really focus on what you're good at. I'm really good at mantra initiations. I love this piece. I love teaching. Right? Like it's like my love. It's like my priestess work. And so having people to update my website, and we dialogue all the time, but then they write it up for me, or I write something and then it gets refined. This is crucial, I think, to the healers of the world that are stuck in working hourly, that can't move themselves forward, but really yearn for that forward movement. I see that male component, if we want to call it that, really highly needed in the world of yoga teachers and healers and so forth. They just can't seem to get beyond that. So that, and I think, so long ago, a decade or a decade and a half ago, we were talking about our coaches, and, that I have always sought that. I have always invested in myself for years, because I knew that I couldn't do it alone, and that I would never be fully satisfied with my potential in the world without getting help.
Yeah. And now we're back to, we all need each other.
We all need each other.
The DIY doesn't work in transformation. It's always been done with you. I love that. So I'll just point people again to your website, jeanniemanchester.com, and the Evolutionary Women's Circle, and there'll be links in the show notes. And then for those of you who are interested in talking to us about Wellness Pro Academy, just go to wellnesspro.academy, and I'm sure you'll find your way into either a waitlist or free training, which will then bring you to talk to one of us about exactly what's going on with your current offerings, and what is the upsell, what is the true container of transformation in your best offer ever. So yay, Jeanie, we'll track you in the Evolutionary Women's Circle and see what's going on, and update people on the podcast.
I'm so grateful, Kate. Thank you so much. I hope this serves people. And I apologize, we had a boiler break in my studio, so well, a lot of activity now.
Are you a podcast listener ready to guide your wellness business to more profit? We have an exclusive offer just for you, introducing our Unique Abilities Profit Consultation. Sign up today at wellnesspro.academy/unique. Don't miss this opportunity to unlock your profit potential. During this personalized consultation, your expert coach will guide you to discover just how much money you're leaving on the table from an outdated business model. Say goodbye to trial and error and hello to tailored guidance that leverages your unique abilities. Your success coach will work closely with you to create a winning strategy that aligns with your strengths and vision. Don't let the challenges of running a wellness business hold you back from more profit any longer. Up-level your leadership with our actionable strategies. Overcome hurdles. Receive innovative solutions. Take that crucial step towards building the profitable wellness business you deserve. Schedule your free Unique Abilities Profit Consultation today. But hurry, this exclusive offer is only free for our valued podcast listeners. Don't wait. Unleash your unique abilities and unlock your true profit potential. It's time to make your mark in the world of wellness. Sign up today at wellnesspro.academy/unique. Namaste and have a great day.